Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on FNaF. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the gigantic update from Steelwool Studios about security breach, what that means, what they may be implying, and all of the stuff that they will be updating about the game. I read through it so you don't have to, and we're going to go through all of the important stuff that you should know about what is coming to security breach. Also, look at my sweatshirt. It says FNaF. Let's just get right into the video and deep dive into this long patch update they gave us. Here we go. So here it is. We got updates from the studio and notes for patch 1.11. So we got this little picture of Helpy with a fly swatter. They said, hey everyone, we have been busy over here at Steelwool, and now is a good time to give you a few updates on what's been happening. A couple of weeks ago, we pushed a new patch for the console version of Security Breach. That patch contained a whole bunch of fixes, but was specifically released in order to add Japanese localization to support the launch of our physical version in Japan. The reason we hadn't released patch notes until now is because we wanted to add a few more fixes that were cut off due to the hard deadline. At the bottom of this post is the list of changes/fixes that went into both the patch and the one we're currently releasing. As you'll see, this is a non-trivial release for us. Given the size of this patch and the previous major patch, we are generally content with the game as it currently stands, but we know it can always be better. There will be other patches in the future, they're just not likely to be as major as the ones you've seen. Next, we should probably talk about the gold and busted Glamrock Freddy statue in the room, referring to the DLC. Over the last few months, we've began our full development push on our upcoming DLC, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach Ruin. There's not much to share at this point, other than we're working hard and are very excited to share more as soon as the time is right. It's worth saying that while there will always be skeptics, as there absolutely should be, the response has been overwhelmingly positive, and your excitement has put smiles on all of our faces here at the studio. We get hyped when you do, and it reminds us why we love doing what we do. Lastly, I need to shill for the merch store we launched at the beginning of the month. We have big plans for our store in the future, but for the month of June, we have created our first limited edition Pride Month merch. We cannot say this enough. All net proceeds from the sales this month are donated to charity. Keep an eye out on our social feeds as we'll be introducing more merch for the whole community to enjoy. That's it for now, but you'll be hearing from us again in the not too distant future with another exciting announcement, something many of you have been waiting for. Thanks again for taking the time to keep up to date with what we've got going on. We couldn't do it without you. Ray McCaffrey, executive producer at Steelwool Studios. So there's just two quick things I want to point out. Interesting that they mentioned the DLC. When I read this, I did not expect this to come up, but it looks like they're hard at work on the DLC, and it looks like they're content with how the game is after this patch is released. So it looks like whatever state the game is in after this patch is released, they are content with that, and I'm excited to see what it's going to be like. I will definitely be live streaming myself playing this game after the patch is released, just to see what's new, what's taken away, and the part where they said they got another exciting announcement very soon, something many of you have been waiting for. I predict that is the Xbox port of Security Breach. People have been dying to know when that will come out. It was said that it would come out 3 months after the initial game release, and that has not happened. Maybe they're having trouble with it. Here's the list of all of the bugs and changes that have been made, and it just doesn't stop. It just keeps going. Yep, it's still going. It's still going, and that's it. It's a lot. So let's go through this and point out what is important and what is not important. Let's first start off with changes. These are not bug fixes. These are literally just things added to the game. Starting a new game will no longer overwrite the last loaded manual save. That is good to know. This one's interesting. Updated the subtitle system to display multiple dialogues simultaneously. That's really interesting to me because I think one of the problems with the subtitles is that there's too much dialogue on the screen at once. Like when you drop down from the vent at the very beginning of the game, there's that giant chunk of dialogue that's just all on the screen at once. So I think they may mean like when two animatronics are after you, their dialogue will just show up at once if they're like yelling at you. Added camera assets to roughly reflect the FazWatch camera's position. This is a really interesting one because this is a problem I had with Security Breach, is that the camera system was a little too vague. I didn't know like where the cameras were in connection. Like the watch didn't really give us enough information about the cameras, and I'm glad they're adding a general position of the cameras on the FazWatch. So this one basically says they removed some of the tables and chairs, if not all of them, to make sure the daycare attendant can traverse the daycare play area without getting stuck. You have probably experienced this bug where the daycare attendant is chasing after after you, but he gets stuck on something. This has now been fixed, and the way they fixed it is literally just getting rid of the chairs and the tables, and I could not be happier about that because you can literally get soft locked on the chairs and tables and the noisemakers if you literally just jump on them the wrong way, so I'm glad they're gone. I'm not gonna miss them, honestly. Updated Roxy's patrol pathing and Roxy Raceway. That is also a good one. I know she starts at the same place every single time. This one is also really interesting. Updated Vani's patrol pathing in her boss battle. I think this confused a lot of people because there originally was a Vani boss battle in the game that they ended up cutting out. I think what they mean by this is the disassemble Vani ending where she's chasing you throughout the halls and you have to go up the staircase and then hit the button. I think that is technically her boss battle. Maybe that will be a little more difficult. Maybe her pathing was a little messed up. It was pretty easy to get past her at that point, so I guess we'll have to see what that actually did in the game, but I assume it doesn't really do much. Added in more Vani audio files for a variety of lines to play when encountering her in Lost and Found. I smell lore. You'll notice that there's a lot of these kind of things in this update where they add audio files for characters, and I think maybe that will help us with some of the lore. Maybe it's just existing ones and that weren't playing in the first place. I don't know. We'll have to see. Added in color indicator for Phaser Blast flags to turn blue when players capture it and return to green if the enemy alien bots capture it. This next one is interesting. I don't know how I feel about this one. Added in more staff bots to patrol after the player acquires the security upgrade from the Gator Golf office. So I think what this means is that in the hallway where you have to go from the kitchen to the Gator Golf office, there is no patrol bots at all. I think they may have added some in there. I don't think that's a good move, honestly. I think there's way too many staff bots in this game and it kind of hinders your game experience a little bit, but maybe that's just me. We'll have to see what this means. I can't wait to explore this when we replay it live, but yeah, adding in more staff bots. That is not what I expected them to do. We got some for the Burn Trap boss battle. Chica now enters hunt mode if she sees the player in the hallway during the Burn Trap wave. So you know how you can stand in front of the doorway when Chica's walking up and she just doesn't notice you and you can just close the door? She was probably the easiest one to handle during the Burn Trap battle. She will now see you and she will now start chasing you. I don't know if that means when you close the door it no longer does anything and she won't go away, or she'll get bored and just walk back. I don't know. That's interesting though, because that has been something that I've always been curious about. It's like, why can't she see us? We're right in front of her. I don't know. Updated animatronics to be stunnable in Burn Trap battle. Updated ray trace reflections for particular shaders. That is a really interesting one because ray tracing does not work in this game. Like, if you turn on ray tracing, the game is basically unplayable. So it's funny that they added more ray tracing in this. I don't know if ray tracing will suddenly work in this patch. It didn't work in the last patch. I hope it works now. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Added in environmental fog. This is something we saw in the PlayStation update that they talked about before. The fog is actually really cool. I love how they're trying to make the environment more environmenty. Added a set your brightness, contrast, etc. upon fresh game start. I love this. I love when games just put that right in your face at the beginning, saying, okay, let's deal with this right now so you don't have to hunt it out. Turn up the brightness until you can barely see the little Freddy Fazbear. Added in additional loading screens across several areas of the map, primarily PS4 and lower spec PCs. So it looks like there's no longer going to be some major lag spikes when you're walking through the Pizzaplex. It's just going to stop your game and do a loading screen. I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know if I'd rather have lag spikes or a loading screen and just go to black. It kind of makes it no longer free roam a little bit. It's just a less fluid experience, but I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. I don't have a PS4, so you have to tell me what you think about that. So we got some upgrades to Freddys Textures. This is something we saw in the trailer that we didn't end up getting in the final game, but updated the Fazwatch to indicate party pass quantity. In the trailer for the game, you could see how many party passes you had on your Fazwatch. That was gone for the official game, and I'm glad it's coming back. That is always something that I was curious about, how many party passes. People had to go to their inventory to find that out, and now they don't have to, which is really cool. Updated the collectible categories in game. I'm glad they did that. It was kind of a mess. The clothing tab never showed up with any clothing in it. It was a disaster, but yeah, this is another lore thing. Added in additional Freddy dialogue lines during Escape the Daycare when completing Monty and Chica's boss battles, interacting with a gate without correct requirements, and in the Phaser Blast elevator. So looks like we're getting more dialogue from Freddy, and I could not be more excited because I need lore, please. Updated the timestamp system to break subtitles into more readable lines. This has been done with all supported translations. This is good to know. I just mentioned this earlier. Hopefully this will help the giant paragraphs on the screen. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. The most important update of them all, ComedyBot Scott is now sporting a lovely suit and bowler hat, and we saw that on the PS4 version, and I can't wait to see that on this new version. Updated lighting in Mini Golf Arcade for holes 6 through 9. Added new randomized elevator dialogues. So this is something that people found in the game files. There were supposed to be like Faz facts in the elevator, like speaking while you're going up the elevator. That would have been really nice to help pass time, because those can be a long-ish loading area in the game. So I'm excited to see what the dialogue is for these Faz facts in the elevator. Added in title screen and updated all game over screens with new assets for Princess Quest 1, 2, and 3. This is also a lore thing that we will have to keep our eyes out for. Updated Gregory saying, "That moon thing's gonna get me. There, on the wall." To no longer mention the wall, because Moon was not on the wall. He was hanging on the edge of the platform. Players can no longer press buttons early during the memory sequence of Parts and Service, which is really interesting. You can no longer just sprint through the memory sequence. You have to wait for it to be done, giving you the correct sequence. Mazer size modules now have their positions saved when players reload their saves. This is the most frustrating one for me. I hate Mazer size. I don't like that part of the game. I avoid it at all costs. It is way too confusing. The controls are absolute garbage. I'm sorry. Love you, Steel Wool. The fact that you have to go up to the buttons and hope that you're hitting the right button is just so frustrating. The instructions for it are so frustrating and so vague. And the fact that you can no longer quit your game and reload to try it again, it's just so frustrating. But yeah, we'll just see how that one goes. Players can now toggle the stealth indicator on or off. Added an indicator audio when players pick up Monty's claw. That is all the changes coming across all platforms. Let's look at the specific ones for PC, PS4, and PS5. Adjusted mission hitboxes on the Faz Watch. I remember this being an issue, like you click on a mission and it just wouldn't register, so I'm glad that is fixed. Adjusted the upgrade machines, save stations, pause menus, and main menus UI hitbox. That is also a good thing. Adjusted Faz Watch camera hitboxes in the Gator Golf security office and in Fazer Blast. Improved performance in front of the main stage and atrium when RTX settings are on. That is really cool. I'm glad they're fixing the RTX. I really want to see this game at its full potential. And for the PS4 and PS5, they mostly added in haptic feedback, which is something people were really looking forward to. That is the most important thing out of this, and the stability for frame rates. So I don't have a PS4 or PS5, so you're going to have to let me know how that works and if it works. So this is the list of all of the bug fixes that they have fixed with this new update, and it is a lot, and I have read all of it. There is things in this that I didn't even know they needed to fix. And all you pretty much need to know is that there is a lot of soft lock fixes, there is a lot of texture fixes, there is a lot of just general like getting in and out of Freddy things that would go wrong that are now fixed. There is a lot of spamming buttons that no longer breaks the game. It's really in-depth, and I'm not going to cover all of this because I will cover all of this and test things when I play this live when it comes out. But yeah, there is just a ton of stuff that they have fixed in this. I couldn't even begin to read all of this because it would take forever, and I know you don't want to hear that. I will put the link to this full list in the description below if you want to check it out. We will check out all of these bugs and see if they are fixed on the live stream whenever this patch comes out. Let me know what you guys think about this update. Are you excited for this? Are you kind of checked out on Security Breach? I am not checked out. I'm still hyped. I still have hope, and I think you should too. Also, if you're wondering where I've been working on a huge video called The Entire History of Five Nights at Freddy's, and I could not be more excited for that video. I've been writing the script for weeks. I will let you know more information about that in the future, but yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.